What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and in this video I will be unlocking Scarlet Witch's newest alternate costume. This is going to be the Transian Scarlet Witch costume, and you unlock it for mastering Chapter 5. So as soon as you reach 100%, you'll gain whatever rewards you haven't already received. For me personally, it happened to be 10 command points, followed by 5 gold. After the in-game currency rewards, you'll finally receive the Transian Scarlet Witch costume. This comes in both Blaster and Infiltrator class, so don't worry, you do get both at the same time even though they're only showing one of the classes. Now I'm going to equip this costume, and I'm going to go to the store and use some of the gold I received for Chapter 5. What I was looking at buying is the Fortuitous and Powered ISO 8 for Scarlet Witch. It's going to cost 30 gold, but it really does look amazing. This character-specific E-ISO grants Scarlet Witch Get Lucky. This gives her a chance to manipulate probability, countering attacks, following up attacks, or ignoring enemy defense. I've also definitely seen it avoid debuffs, so I will throw that out there. Just think of Domino's passive ability. And then on top of that, it has a chance to make Chaos Shield a quick action. This truly is one incredible empowered ISO 8 for Scarlet Witch. I think so highly of it that this is going to be the first character-specific 30 gold E-ISO that I buy. I have been tempted in the past, but this is definitely going to be the one. So anyway, since this is going to be a first look and sort of a character review, I'm going to begin critiquing this costume starting with the E-ISO slots. Since this is an alternate costume, we're limited to only one empowered ISO 8. What this means is you won't be able to equip both of Scarlet Witch's specific empowered ISO 8. So in essence, you're either going to have to sacrifice the one I just bought, or the one that grants Controlled Chaos for this one's passive ability. And that's not even mentioning all the other E-ISO that could work well on Scarlet Witch. What you're getting in return is the chance to preemptively counter single target attacks. That's truthfully all you get with the Transian Scarlet Witch costume. As I'll show you as soon as we get to her turn, there is nothing added to her abilities. Honestly, I'm extremely underwhelmed and very disappointed with this reward costume. Captain Marvel and Heroic Age Iron Fist are both incredible rewards, not to mention Uncanny Cyclops, and even the original Daredevil is at the very least usable. Where Transian Scarlet Witch is concerned, I'd actually rather use her default costume. The simple reason for this is because that way I could equip both of her E-ISO. Now, could her Improbable Opening preemptive counter actually be very useful? Certainly it could. But allow me to list some of the problems with this passive. It's only on single target attacks, so anyone who has AoE probably won't even be hit. The only way they'll even have a chance to be preemptively hit is if they don't use that AoE attack, and maybe they have a single target attack as well. So that right there is limiting in itself, but allow me to continue. Stealthy, subtle, psychic, or anything like that is also not going to be preemptively countered. At this point we've cut out a ton of attacks, and many characters who are only going to use those type of attacks. This leaves us with only single target, normal attacks. And maybe that in itself would be decent, but the proc rate is also low. In my personal experience, maybe in 10 matches, I saw it 3 to 4 times. Oh, and right here on the screen I am going through the abilities, and you can see they're exactly the same. So Improbable Opening is really the only thing you get with this alternate costume. It's a terrible proc rate, it doesn't work on most attacks, and you're sacrificing an E-ISO slot for the potential of a preemptive strike. I really have no idea how the devs thought that this would be enough for a chapter mastery costume. Especially since I thought they were working on this one for quite some time, and there's already a track record of some really incredible chapter mastery rewards, which I mentioned earlier. And by the way, I'm still not done with my critique. I will commentate the next 2 matches, but as far as this chapter reward, I'm not going to let it off that easy. This alternate also comes in Blaster and Infiltrator, so 2 of the worst classes in PvP right now. Both of these classes are basically a liability. If you use the Blaster, there's so many tacticians, you're going to give them tactical maneuvers. And then the Infiltrator, well, the only thing I have to say to that is Scrapper Quicksilver. As soon as you run into him, he will quickly make you regret using her as an infiltrator. So by now I think you know my true opinion of this reward costume. It's not even worth getting. If you need characters and you have any other chapters to master, I would say do those first. This one truthfully is my least favorite of the 5. Its only redeeming quality is when she does preemptively strike, she does it with Hex Spheres. That's an AoE attack which places hexed on the opponents. Now in these 2 matches we are going to see it proc twice, once in each, but keep in mind these are very selective. I only saw it proc maybe 3 times total in 10 matches, and this may be part of the reason why. Mega Optic Blast is an AoE, so you won't counter that. Then they have Emma Frost, who obviously has psychic attacks, so we won't be preemptively countering those either. On top of that, I would guess that it's like a 20% proc rate. They need to step that way up in order to make this alternate useful. We did get a big Arcane Blast counterattack because we're using an infiltrator and we were attacked by a tactician. Also, the Gaunt Caress made us gain tactician power on our agent. This means that using a single target attack will grant us a second action. So let's use the Memento Mori on their agent, and then for our second attack, I'm going to use the Oblivione. By the way, in case you didn't know this, there is a toggle for combat text. This pretty much speeds up matches a lot, and doesn't show all the debuffs. I just wanted to mention this because I've switched between turning it on and off, mainly because it does speed up matches, but at the same time, I don't know how great it is for reviews. And that's just because it doesn't tell you everything that's going on. But trust me, if something does proc, I will point it out. Either way, currently it's turned off, so we are seeing all the procs. If you are interested in using it for yourself to speed up matches, or even PvE, it's on the settings wheel that has the music and sound options, as well as the full screen mode. It'll be at the very bottom, and it's called Toggle Combat Message Speed. The icon will be 2 arrows pointing right. Think of it as a fast forward button. But anyways, as I promised, there will be a rare and probable opening proc, so don't blink or you'll miss it. It's coming up on Cyclops' turn, and I will mention it when it happens. First, Emma uses a psychic tap on my agent, which of course we can't preemptively counter. Then on Scarlet Witch's turn, I check to see if Chaos Shield is going to be a quick action, but I later discovered that you will see Get Lucky proc, and then it'll be labeled a quick action. That does proc from time to time, and Get Lucky is definitely better than our passive. Cyclops gains a Don't Die on Me and counterattacks with an Optic Blast. Then he apparently goes for a single target attack, and we see our first and probable opening. Like I did mention before, the one good thing about this passive is that it is an AoE attack. It's going to be Hex Spheres. But even with that, Cyclops is being incredibly annoying, and he's going to almost finish Scarlet Witch. Luckily, my agent has the Memento Mori, and that's going to knock out Cyclops, and there's nothing he can do about it. And I was so frustrated that I just decided the mental anguish was worth it. Now we only have to deal with Emma Frost, and luckily Beast has quite a bit of health left. As for my agent and Scarlet Witch, well, that's another story. Unfortunately, Mind Control makes us block against his attack, and we did gain a Get Lucky proc. This causes Scarlet Witch to do a follow-up attack on my agent, and that knocks him out. Because of dots, Emma Frost's health takes quite a dip, but she does gain some back with generosity. With her attack, she uses Psychic Tap on Beast. So with Scarlet Witch's turn, we're going to use Chaos Shield. Unfortunately, Beast has Nano Plague and Mental Anguish, so on his turn I'm just going to pass. I'll just let the damage over time effects finish Emma. And that's exactly how the second match will end. Let's go ahead and move on to one third and final match with the Transian Scarlet Witch. This fight is going to be against a scary Juggernaut and Quicksilver team, and hopefully they don't have a Scrapper Quicksilver. I think we get pretty lucky and it is a generalist. Scarlet Witch receives the first turn for our team, and I'm going to start with Hex Spheres. Hexed is a pretty awesome debuff because it causes Backfire, which procs immediately. Not only does the enemy miss, they also take damage. Then Juggernaut causes our second and probable opening proc, followed by a Backfire and a Get Lucky counterattack. On my agent's turn, I'm going to use the Neurotrope, followed by the Oblivion. Pretty much we're going to give a ton of buffs to our team, and then heavily debuff the opponents. The combat message speed option is toggled on, so you're going to notice things going much faster. However, if you're not too familiar with the debuffs that you can place with certain items, you'd probably wonder what just happened to their agent. Well, they were exhausted by the Oblivion, and so when they used party time, that's going to be the end of their turn. This is one of the big drawbacks to using the Generalist armor as your AI defense. For some odd reason, especially when you're exhausted, they use party time, even though you don't even need stamina. But hey, that's a perfect example of why the AI is so pathetic. On a side note, another example of how the AI is so bad is with Psylocke's E-ISO. This grants mental coordination, but I noticed that people using her on defense are using her because they already have this E-ISO, but whenever she takes her first turn, she uses mental coordination. So yes, the AI is completely wasting Psylocke's turn, and you probably shouldn't use her on defense. But anyways, that's going to be our first look at the Transian Scarlet Witch costume, and my opinions on it. I have a few other videos planned for today, and hopefully I get around to making all of them. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and ask you to please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, good luck, and take care.